We'll talk about what the F is going on with New York Metros, wild up and down feelings, as always, week to week. That's just how it is. It's doom and gloom, followed by pure, unadulterated euphoria. And right now, we should be celebrating them, but this stretch is just, I think everyone's got their panties in a twist over this stretch against some really poor teams, not exactly performing up to the level that we expect of this team, because they're different, right? And they're special, right? Listen, those 7 claps away claps, I know it's so early in the pod to bring that up, but it's devastating to say the least. I think 2007 hurt more than 2008, because 2008 was like, here we go again. You kind of were like bracing for it. 07 was just like, oh wow, what do I do now? I have all these playoff tickets. What do I do? As high as I am on the Giants, I'm not as high on the Mets, and it has to do with everything I feared coming true. I should be enjoying this season. This is the best season that they've had in a very long time. I mean, like, better than 2006. I guess you would say 88 is like the last season that it felt like this good. I was 7 for, all of that season was 7. So that's the last time I've experienced a season like this, where it's like, we're so successful. And this is what it must have been like for the 87 Mets, the 89 Mets, and maybe even the 85 Mets. I mean, there were three or four Mets teams that, if they're playing in modern day baseball with modern day baseball rules with the current playoff format, they're like shoo-ins for the playoffs. Like they have like the 2 seed or the 3 seed. But back then it was like, all right, the National League East champion plays the National League West champion, and that's that for the National League Championship Series. And there were seasons where I'm pretty sure they won like over 100 games and missed the playoffs. I mean, that's, if I were an adult, I'd riot. But I was a kid and I didn't know any better. So I was like, oh man, we're just not that good this year. And it's like, no, kid, they won over 100 freaking games. You put them in any other division, they win the division. Let me see this. I remember looking at this once and being like, oh my God. Because when you're a kid, I guess when you're that young, 7 or even 5 or even 4, which was the 85 season, you're just like, oh, we didn't make the playoffs because we're not that good. It's like, oh no, dude, actually, can you just take a quick gander at your freaking record, dude? I mean, look at this from, let's find it. 91 and 71 in 1990 didn't make the playoffs. 87, 75, and 89 didn't make the playoffs. 92 and 70 and 87 didn't make the playoffs. 98 and 64 and 85 didn't make the playoffs. 90 and 72 and 84 didn't make the playoffs. That is 4 fucking seasons with 90 plus wins and not making the playoffs. It just doesn't happen in this current format. Can you imagine the damage that they could have done if they did make the playoffs in the current playoff format in those years? I'm trying to think of what season I'm thinking of. It's gotta be 85, right? Where like they went head to head with the Cardinals and they were 3 games back. 98 wins. They had more wins than the fucking Dodgers in 85, who were the West Division champions and couldn't go to the playoffs because of stupid rules. I would lose, and especially now in the current playoff format. I can't imagine what goes through like Keith Hernandez's head and Ron Darling's head when they see a team that's like 88 wins making the friggin' playoffs. Ugh. But yeah, so this is the best season since, I'd say, 88. In 88, we were like, we should have won the World Series. But, if Oral Hershiser didn't exist, we would have won the World Series. God damn. I had a time machine. So yeah, this team is special. This team is different. But what did I say after we beat the Dodgers and after we took for, like, when we played well against the Braves and the Dodgers? It's like everyone has been chirping and shouting from the mountaintops. Wait till we get to the weak section of our schedule. We're going to fucking roll. And that's what's going to propel us and give us all the momentum we need to make a deep playoff run, because we are just going to fucking run through these bad teams. And part of me was like, wouldn't it be so Mets for us to stick it to the Dodgers and make us look like we're world beaters, to then shitting the bed against the league's worst teams? And sure enough, that is exactly what has fucking happened. Now, sure, we took 2 of 3 from the Marlins, but how do you lose 2 of 3 to the fucking Nats? Understandably, it's Labor Day weekend. You want to get your party on. I understand. You want to get lit. You want to get turned. You want to get crunk. I get it, man. I was right there with you. I wouldn't want to play baseball, but at the same time, 7-1, 7-1, back-to-back losses. I thought Google was having an aneurysm when I checked the score because I wasn't able to watch the games. And I was like, no, it's Google. 7-1 was last night's score, not tonight's. Like, nope, no, actually, you're still a dumbass, Neal. So losing 2 through the Nats and then getting blown out in the opening game against the Pirates, that was definitely, I think a lot of people pushed the panic button. They come back, they beat the Pirates the next 2 games handedly, then lose to the Marlins. And it's like, fuck, we're back in this like cycle again. And then they take the next 2 in strong fashion, 11-3, 9-3. Mark Canha getting his first ever Grand Slam. Love that dude. And then you lose 5-2 to the Mets last night, and then you lose 4-1 to them tonight with DeGrom on the mound. Now, shit like this happens, right? You go through your ups and downs. Baseball has a long season, 162 games. You're bound to have a slump here and there. And this wouldn't be a freaking issue if the Braves weren't basically near perfect. Near freaking perfect. Although they have lost the last 3 in a row or something like that. It's like their first 3-game losing streak, and I don't know how long. So we're still a game and a half up. I think the Giants are playing the Braves late, but I mean, goddamn, we have 89 wins and it still feels like we're on thin ice. And I know I shouldn't feel that way. And I have all kinds of Mets fans being like, you dumb. This isn't like the 07 Mets. This isn't like the 08 Mets. But that's a trauma that does not go away. I've had a lot of trauma in my passing my father, divorce, pretty severe injuries to my body, losing a friend to a car accident, like losing multiple friends to car accidents. There's a lot of trauma. For me to say like, oh, I'm past it. This doesn't affect me. 07, 08, that's never going to leave my body. Never going to leave my mind. My mind is slowly disintegrating, right? Getting worse by the second. We'll never forget the 07 and 08 collapse. And it's hard for me to not say, okay, sure, we're 10 games up. If you're talking wild card from that last spot, we're 10 plus games up. We don't have that many games left. Come on, Neal. What is there to worry about? Losing back-to-back games to the Nats and now losing back-to-back games to the freaking Cubs. Yeah. You have to worry a little bit, don't you? Especially with Scherzer having the issues with his left side, Marte being out, but then you get Guillermo back, and you're gonna get McGill back, and Drew Smith, and possibly Joey Lucchesi, the Cherv man. So it's like a constant battle. When normally in like 99 out of 100 seasons, this wouldn't be an issue. I mean, it wouldn't be an issue if you had 89 wins at this pace. Unless the West Division is just, they've been playing out of their minds for so long, and I guess the AL East has had comparable situations where it's like neck and neck. We shouldn't be worried. But it's tough when you look at the possible playoff matchups and the scenarios, and it's like, if we do fall to 3, we don't get the bye, and then we might have to play the freaking Padres, who we somehow can't figure them out. But isn't that how baseball works? Where even football too, you get dominated by a team in the regular season and then you own them in the postseason, or you dominate a team in the regular season and then you get your feces forced up into your colon by that same team that you were dominating in the friggin' regular season. So that's why it's like, I'm not going to get into favorable playoff matchups, because it's like, okay, knowing how the baseball gods work, we've crushed the Phillies. We've owned them all season. Wouldn't it be so fitting if we face off against them in the postseason and they just fucking run us out of the building? Oh lordy, that would be something. So I guess the Braves, now see, I was just about to say, I guess the Braves are the only team I really worry about, but I don't. You know who it is? The fucking Cardinals, dude. They have 83 wins. No one is talking about them. Everyone is so, like, if anything, if you're talking about the Cardinals, you're talking about Albert Pujols and hitting his 700th home run. You're not talking about how St. Louis is flying well under the radar and that they're going to probably finish the season with like maybe 90 wins, and then they're going to just sweep motherfuckers in the playoffs. That's just that's how cruel and twisted baseball gods are. I don't pray to them. Not anymore. Not for what they've done. So it's tenuous with the Mets. Every time, you start to puff your chest out after you take the series from the Dodgers, and you think, I think we've got the perfect formula here. We've got the lights out closer. We've got a lineup that won't quit. A lineup that even if you have a couple guys slumping, premier marquee guys slumping, there are guys that are gonna fill in the gaps. And then you face the Cubs and you score 3 runs in 2 games. But I mean, to accurately have any kind of take or opinion on the playoffs is just beyond. It's beyond, dude. You can't. Knowing how the Cardinals can get, knowing how specifically the Cardinals can get hot. But you look at the fucking Nats in 2019. Where the hell did the Nationals come from in 2019 to take the goddamn World series, dude. I mean, we were like neck and neck with them and the Braves. I mean, we had that huge push in August in 2019 where we got hot and we made a run. And it's like there were big games against the Nats and we were taking them down in huge spots. And then they just like ran through the National League on the way to the World Series. I don't think a lot of people really expected the Braves to win the World Series. Call me crazy. So it's tough. And part of me thinks like people hate Darin Ruf. They don't want to see him on the postseason roster, but he can't get that much worse, right? Like it feels like this is the maximum amount of slump that you can be in, right? It feels like just when you want to immediately cut him off and get him off your team, that's when he's gonna like get hot and like carry us, right? That's how it works. I don't freaking know, dude. I mean, I cannot believe they lost back-to-back games to the fucking Cubs, dude. And then the Pirates are like have a crappy record, but yet, I mean, last place in the Central, second worst record in the National League, and they'll probably give us migraines, bro. 4-game series. Luckily, that's at home. And then we have to go to Milwaukee. I mean, you would like to think that we could, you look at it and on paper, you're like, oh, so we'll take both of the games from the Marlins. We'll sweep the A's. We'll sweep the Nats. And then just leaves us with the Brewers and Braves to be concerned with. But it's like, it's almost the reverse of how it's going to be. It's like, we'll probably stick it to the Brewers and the Braves, and then we'll fucking split the series with the Pirates and then like lose 2 or 3 of the A's. And then it like the last 3-game series against the Nats is where it's like for the whole kit and caboodle, for the whole shebang. Yikes. God damn it. Just sucks. I mean, literally, we have the 3rd most wins in the freaking league, dude. And yet we're still in this like worried state, all because of 07 and 08. If 07 and 08 don't happen, I don't think it's a storyline. It's just not a headline. And no, yes, we have better teams than we did in 07 and 08, but who knows how this team is gonna they seem like an even keeled bunch where it's like basically like Aaron Rodgers with the Packers. Just relax. Like, all right, back-to-back losses, pretty ugly. We're gonna show up to the ballpark tomorrow and we're gonna win. It just feels like they have the right attitude. Although Buck Showalter, he's gonna win Manager of the Year. That's for sure. But some iffy decisions lately. He's doing things that I have never seen in a baseball game before. And maybe it's because we never had the DH, but in particular, like pinch running Vogelback. Vogelback walks. He pinch runs for Vogelback with the pitcher who's currently on the mound and pitching. All because he doesn't want to waste a bench player in the event that the Mets make a further comeback and they need Gore to steal a critical base when it's like they're close. It's just like did any manager honestly think to use their shutdown closer against the heart of the lineup, the most productive section of the lineup in the 8th inning? I feel like I never fucking saw that until Buck Showalter was manager of the Mets. He's just amazing. Still, that being said, the pinch hitting, sending Darin Ruf up to pinch hit in a big situation, bases loaded, like gotta have runs. Guy's 1 for his last 36 or something like that. Woof, dude. That's a tough look. Versus sending Mark Vientos up, who pulled an 0 for 5 against the Marlins. Who do you send up there? Like untested, not battle ready Mark Vientos, who might be overwhelmed by the whole situation, or like luckless Darin Ruf, who literally has been to the store, has opened his wallet, has an amazing line of credit, and cannot purchase a hit. All right, so that's the show. I'm upset with the Mets. I'm trying not to get too down. I'm trying not to let the wounds of yesteryear affect me. It's hard though. It's hard, especially knowing how the 88 season ended. I really hope it doesn't end like that, because it just feels like we can beat any team. We've shown that we can beat the best teams. So why can't we just take care of the fucking awful teams? What is it about these teams? We're 4-6 in our last 10. The Marlins are 3-7. The Nats are 4-6 in their last 10. The Cubs are 4-6 in the last 10. Pirates like 5. Like, I don't know. It's not like we're playing these bad teams when they're getting hot. It's like they strictly get hot for us. I'm confident we're gonna make the playoffs. There are some matchups that I am not happy about, but at the same time, it's like I can't feel good about any of the postseason matchups, because that's how fucking weird the Major League Baseball postseason is. Anyway, that being said, let's go Mets. We gotta believe. You gotta believe. And right now, I am cautiously optimistic. A believer. All right, it's enough of that shit. We'll talk to you next week. Adios, muchachos.